the secret, and we put these slides up together just to give you some guidance, and it was the secret is you is the answer.
It's not us.
No, it's not us.
It's not Stuart.
It's not Stuart.
It's not whoever your sponsor is. It's you.
And it's not about it's not about what you're doing or how you're doing it. Sorry, it's not about how you're doing it, what you're learning, all that sort of stuff. It's actually going through a series of steps, and we're just going to put these things down. I think we've got 3 slides. It's not a lot, just to go through a couple of things that might just trigger some thoughts with you, might just get you to another level, might just make you think about something that you haven't done yet. So the first part to this is actually understand where you are now. Now I don't know how many of you are on this call at the moment. I can't see.
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot of people, yeah. There's quite a lot of people who
haven't given us their name.
Haven't given their name either. But the thing is you need to understand where you are, because you're all going to be in a different place. You're all going to be in a different place. So some of you may have just started this week. Some of you may have started last week or the week before. Some of you might have been in a month. Some of you might have been in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Some of you, like us,
are old timers, as we were called the other day.
Yeah, old timers. Yeah, have been in here since the beginning. You need to understand where you are now, because when you understand where you are now, you'll understand where your business is. Okay, and this is a business. You'll understand exactly where your business is. And what I mean by that is, if you are literally just starting out, okay, you're literally just starting out, you've got to go through the process of getting all your websites set up, your Aweber set up, all your automation set up, all your messages done, your lead capture pages. You're going through the SFM site to understand exactly what's in there. And to be honest, when you first start, if you start going through the SFM site, you're going to get overwhelmed.
Just so much brilliant content.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the SFM's been going for, I don't know, nearly 2 years now, in its current format, and so there's a lot of information in there, But if you follow the Getting Started program, it will take you through the process. Now, we call this we call this the grind when you're first starting out. And oh, excuse me, the reason I say that is because that's exactly what it is.
It's the hard bit,
the hard bit. And it's not about just working online. If you were to start any business from scratch, you're going to go through this grind process, i.e. you've got to get your stuff set up. You're working really long hours or working really hard and nothing's happening. You're not getting the return for your time, if you like. You're not getting the financial return for your time, because that's the way business is. You start and you work hard and you put all your effort in, and then slowly sales start to come in. You start to find customers. Then those customers, once you've got customers, life becomes slightly more easy, because they've recognised what you've provided them, whatever service or product you've provided them. You've given them a good service, and so they're likely to come back to buy more stuff. And as you get more and more customers and more leads, okay, the business of building your business and taking it to the next level becomes easier, doesn't it?
And I'm absolutely saying here, because it's quite important, and you might have missed this, particularly if you're brand new. When you make when you get your first lead, and when you make your first sale, the rush of adrenaline that you have will sustain you going forward, because you realise that what you've been doing is working. And that means all you have to do is replicate exactly what you've done. And I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche, you know, we say the rinse and repeat and it sounds like, oh yeah, they're saying that, I've heard that before. But it is absolutely true. If you are not succeeding in what you're doing and you've been going at it a while and you believe you're doing everything right, then something's not quite right. But when you have done it and you do get your leads and you do start making your sales, just keep doing what you're doing and just turn it up because you're doing it right.
Absolutely, but you know, a lot of people, and I suppose this is how this conversation started today, wasn't it? Or where it went. It was sort of, you know, it was a couple actually, and they were considering giving up. But the thing is most people give up just
right on the cusp,
of making their first sale, and that's what you must do, because you've got to continue, because you know, we always say to people that when you're going to start a business, whether you're online or offline, you know, but online specifically, you know, you must in your head accept that you're going to be in this for 6 months minimum. You know, not that it's going to be then till you make your first sale, but at 6 months, you know, you will have made some sales and life will start to become easier.
And we had to have that confidence, didn't we? When we first got started, and Stuart said this exactly to us, and we went, okay, deep breath, okay, we'll stick with it for 6 months. And honestly, almost to the day, he proved the point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, it was it 3 months?
Yeah, it was actually 3 months in the market that we were working in at that.
So,
sorry, we have another attendee.
But it's so, you know, you need to be in it for, you know, if 6 months is the long term, or the the short term, the minimum term, let's say, then you need to be in it for that long, because you know you will start to see results after that. Okay, you know, results that make life easier for you. So that's what we mean by understand where you are now, because some of you will be a bit further forward than that and you will have already made sales. Okay, and you will be looking to take your business to the next level. So you may need to look at other marketing strategies. Okay, other marketing strategies. Try to automate some of the ones that you've already done. So, for example, you know, if you're working on Facebook or you're working on ads, try and automate that process. If you're doing blogging, then try and automate some of the blogging process, so that you generate spare time to learn another process, implement it, and build your business even further.
And it's wonderful because we're getting feedback here, and I'll share some of that. I mean, Graham says he's been in for 4 months and he's just made his first sale. So first of all, congratulations to you. And I know Steve is also on here tonight, and one of my super duper Facebook students. He really is amazing, and I know that he did really well. And once you've done it once, all he kept doing, like you would do, is keep replicating what you're doing, do it more, and it will just come in over and over again. And you're quite right, Steve, it's like the diamond miner, you know, you have to keep going and dig a little deeper, or dig a bit to the left, or dig a bit to the right. There's a very famous story around that. In fact, we've got it on our blog, and there's a book on it as well. You don't give up because somebody else will come in behind you and pick up all the work that you've done, and whoopee, they're going to be the winners out of it. So.
Absolutely, and you know, we like to think that guys in the Six Figure Mentors, you're entrepreneurs, you're business people, you're here for the long term. You're not what we call an opportunity seeker, jumping from one opportunity to another.
This is the basis of your online business. Whatever you do from here on in, through the skills that you learn, through the webinars, the master marketings, the elite webinars if you're an elite member, and all the other stuff that will be coming forward, these are the things that will help you grow a really long-term and sustainable business online, rather than what they call get rich quick, or whatever term you want to call it. It's you know, they're short term. You want a business that is really sustainable and real, and the Six Figure Mentors is the place to get that. I mean, we don't need to tell you because you're here anyway. And Chris, I mean, you share on here one of the Chris Windley, I think it is. I can't read it from here. You say in most sales jobs that you've been in, it takes 6 months to the first sale. Exactly right, because you spend 6 months sowing the seeds,
building your relationships,
building the relationships until you can reap the rewards, and it is absolutely true. And if anyone wants to go look up the story, it's Fields of Diamonds. Thank you, Steve, for putting that there. My brain was just a bit quiet at that moment.
Seizing up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Understand where you are now. Then the next thing is decide what you need to do next to make sales. Okay, so you have to think about this in terms of making sales, but not necessarily making a physical sale. What we're talking about is maybe that depending on where you are, okay, you know, if you're very new and you've just built your website, okay, done that bit, the bit you might need to do is to do the automation and get the emails in, okay, get the Aweber emails in and set up so that you can then start to do traffic. Okay, you know, these things are going to be different depending on where you are. So that might be where you are if you're very brand new. Okay, it might be that you've already got all that set up and you've learned your first marketing strategy. Okay, so you have to implement that marketing strategy until you start to see it work. And what we mean by that in this case is get some leads come into your autoresponder. Okay, so you know that is a step towards making sales. Okay, it might be that you know you're already getting 1 lead a day, 2 leads a day, 3 leads a day, 5 leads a day, depending on where you are in your business. So you might need to take the next step to actually get a higher volume of sales in. Okay, so depending on where you are, you know, I should have put sales in inverted commas, I guess. It's whatever the next step is towards making sales. Okay, and if you are making sales, think about what you did. You know, think about if you've got leads coming in, how did I get those leads? How can I scale that up?
Yeah, what sort of marketing did I do that brought me in
what worked?
Good leads that were going to convert to this particular niche. So congratulations to Ian here. I see you signed up with SFM in July, had no sales until 2 weeks ago, and now you've made 2 elite sales. I mean, that is awesome. It really is. So, you know, you just have to replicate what you've done to get that and just get more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, but it does take time. But look how it rewards, you know, 2 elite sales, $2,000.
Brilliant.
Cracking.
Brilliant. You know, this is the whole benefit of the whole SFM system, because your job is to do your marketing and drive traffic. The guys in the back office, Martin and the sales team, are there to convert your sales to the next level, and they're blinking good at it. That is their background, that is their skill. You know, we're not salespeople. We're probably the worst salespeople in the world, and Stuart's told us that many times.
We're accountants.
You know, we have to hold our hands up and say, yes, we're rubbish at selling, but we're brilliant at building relationships, and building good relationships actually makes those sales for us. So that is our particular strategy of our own.
Okay. So you've done these 2 points, you understand where you are now, you've decided what you need to do next, so then you've got to take the action, okay? And I know people keep saying this to you, take action, implement, all this stuff, but if you don't do it, it won't happen, all right? It's as simple as that. Now, what we want you to do, okay, is concentrate on let me turn this round, okay, now leave it as it is. Concentrate on what you need to do to produce. Okay, so it comes back to this selling thing again. So to produce, what comes next? You know, you need to concentrate on what it takes. And you know, if you think about this, if you're writing, I don't know, let's say you're doing, I don't know, let's say you're doing a blog post a day, and you're not maybe distributing it through, let's say, Facebook Post Planner to the groups or something, okay? And writing 1 blog post a day is getting you 0 traffic or 0 leads, okay? You've got to think about, okay, what can I do with that extra to make it generate some traffic and generate some leads. So, you know, I just said if you weren't using Facebook Planner, maybe the next step for you is to do Facebook Planner and distribute your blog.
And if you haven't seen the training on that, it's in the Master Marketing training, and it really is. It's something we've tried, it's something we've tested, and I know Steve will endorse the training because he's a great student, he's done it, and he's succeeded with it. Distribution is absolutely key. If you're not getting your stuff out there, you can have the best blog in the whole wide world, but if nobody knows it's there, you are not going to attract potential visitors, and those visitors turn into leads.
But you know, the point I was trying to get over here is that whatever you're doing, okay, if it's not quite getting what you want, you've got to do something extra. You've got to do something else. So, you know, for example, if you did one blog post a day and it wasn't doing anything, but you couldn't use any tools to automate and distribute, then you'd have to think about doing 2 blog posts a day. Okay, so, you know, you have to, it's do what it takes. You know, and if that means you have to put an extra hour in, or an extra half an hour in, or you have to get up an hour earlier, or go to bed an hour later, or whatever it is, okay, you need to do that step. Okay, you need to do it. It really is, you know, and this is what we say, this is the grind. This is the bit that's hard. As you get as you get more and more, you get a couple of years down the road, it does become easier, I can assure you, it does become easier.
And you know, I was just looking here, I mean, the question will come on and answer in just a moment about building your list for free. Sometimes that's great if you don't have a lot of money to buy leads, but when you're using free methods of getting traffic, for example, and that might be blogging and article writing, because really and truly they are the best ways of free traffic, it is worth investing in a tool that will actually do a lot of automation for you. It will save you a ton of time, and it really will get your content out there quickly. I mean, I talked about it in the Master Marketing webinar, so if you didn't see it, please go and check it there, and the resources are there. But if you don't have them, just ping me on Facebook, well, ping Chris for the next 3 days, and he'll give you the links to it, because it really is a really great tool. And as you know, we don't recommend.
It is in the back office, so you know, you can go and have a look at that. So you know, this is do what it takes, do whatever it takes, what extra you have to do to get where you want to go. Now, the next point is really, really important. Okay, you have to think daily. And as I said here, all there is daily. Okay, what have I got to do today to produce, to get towards more sales, to get towards more leads? Okay, what have I got to do today? Okay, now, you've got to think about, ultimately you're going to have to think about this week, next fortnight, next month, whatever. Okay, you're going to get into this plan, but what you need to consider is, what am I going to do today that's going to get me towards more sales, get me towards more money? Okay, that's what you have to think about daily.
It's your high priority, and 80% of your time must be spent on things that are going to generate you money.
Yeah, so you can do 20% learning, 80% action. Okay, but if you've got only a couple of hours, you know, do some learning on day 1 and get the action in on day 2, something like that. You know, get the action going. Okay, so we've got another slide here. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so focus on building a list. Now you know, wherever you are in SFM, people will keep banging on about building a list, because your list is your asset online. Okay, and that list will develop over time, not only in size, but it will develop in relationship, because it's important you build the relationship with that list, because that's where the money is. And it's also important that you understand that your list is made up of buyers. It's made up of people who have just joined you, and maybe in your automated response still. it's going to be made up of people who have maybe been on your list for 2 years and never done anything.
We've got people who've been on our list for over 3 years, and Stuart will tell you he's got people who've been on his list for 5 years.
Yeah.
And something twigs one day, and they go, oh yes, I'm ready now.
Yeah, the time is right for them to do and take the action that they want to take. Because everybody on your list is going to be, just like you, they're going to be in a different place. So you have to understand that's exactly what these people are and where they are. So you have to continue to build the relationship, because in 2 years' time, one of them may very well come back to you and say, right, I've had the email from Chris and Susan, I've been following them for a long time, I'm now ready, oh look, yeah, this is their stuff, that's it, I'm off. And they start and they buy. You know, you do get people who come and join your list and buy straight away. It doesn't happen very often, because human nature is we don't buy straight away. We buy from those we know, like and trust. We like to look at stuff, what do they say, seven exposures before people buy.
But people do research you, and you may think that they've just come in like that and bought from you straight away, but you don't know. If you get to talk to them, actually, it's quite important to ask how they found you, because then that's one of the methods that you'll know of what marketing you're doing works. And people do love to tell you this. Oh yeah, I found you on Google, I saw your website, so that means you're doing good keywording. Or, oh yeah, I was on so-and-so's list and I saw a banner come up and I clicked on it. All of this stuff should be stored away in your knowledge base of replicating what's working for you. So do take the time to ask someone who's just joined you, because then you can help them to do the same as you've done.
Okay, and then the last thing on here, you know, focus on between 2 and 4 things that make you money. So in your time that you have, and again, it goes back to where you are in your business, you know, where you are now. You know, if you are brand new, you've got to focus on getting those basics set up and getting your automation ready and learning your first marketing skill. Okay, first marketing strategy. That's what you have to do at that point in time. Okay, so, you know, 2 to 4 for you would be a stretch. As you get more experienced and that marketing strategy becomes a bit more second nature, it takes you less time, and therefore you've got time to look at something else.
You can't see behind us because it's a bit small, but that's our our daily marketing list.
That's a marketing. It's various different marketing aspects that we get up to at the moment.
So you know, it's quite good. It's a cool thing is to go and write them down on a big piece of paper if you don't have a flip chart. Even if you just go and buy a whiteboard, even if you just go and buy a pack of flip chart paper if you don't have a board, and just pin it up somewhere where it's clear for you to see, and it does focus your mind. And you know, we have to keep redoing this and redoing it, because we go off on a tangent every now and again and have to bring ourselves back to
of course we do. And you know, all of you, you know, one thing we would suggest you do, which works for us and it works for a lot of people in our team, is find yourself an accountability buddy, as we call it. Buddy up with somebody who can help you, who, you know, just is somebody you can bounce ideas off, maybe somebody you can just have a chat to, somebody you can say, oh, I'm really pissed off today, things aren't working, excuse my French, and you just got somebody to talk to. You got somebody to say, I tried this but it didn't work, have you tried that? And they'll come back and say, yeah, I did that and I did it this way and it worked.
But I'll tell you, the other great thing of buddying up is you can often find you've got complementary skills or differential skills. So someone might be really good at making a header banner for a website and you're absolutely rubbish at it, like me. So you can swap skills. You could say, well, I can do that for you, can you do that for me? And then suddenly, you know, you're not spending a whole day, you're outsourcing, but you're not for free, and you're not spending a whole day trying to do something that realistically is a nice to have, rather than doing your marketing. You know, it's one thing we do say to all of our students, and we would reinforce this to all of you. It's nice. It's a nice to have a pretty website. It's not essential for marketing. The whole point of getting your website up and ready and having a bit of content on is just so that someone can see that you something there, and particularly your About Me page, so people know something about you. The rest you can have added at a later date. Your marketing, your making money part of your business is so important. It's so important. You know, pretty isn't important, I know, and I'm saying that, and I like pretty. But I've learnt my lesson from that, and in fact Chris told me this afternoon when I said, well, I really want to do this with our website. He said, when we've done that lot,
that's it. What it works.
it really is as simple as that.
Okay, so that's the end of
That's
our
a rant, sorry.
That's the end of our rant, if you like. Our little bit of training that we thought would be very useful to you, and we hope that you found it was so. But basically, it's, you know, concentrate on what's going to make you money next, and concentrate on what you've got to do today. What do I do today to make money?